Hello, tectonic viewers. Today, we're diving into the life of Albert Einstein, not just the wild-haired genius, but the complex, fascinating human behind the icon. We all know E+mc2 and the theory of relativity, but there's so much more to his story. I've got 7 surprising facts about Einstein that reveal the man beyond the equations, a passionate musician, a dedicated activist, and even a potential head of state. We'll explore his struggles, his stands, and his quirks. Get ready to see Einstein in a whole new light. Let's begin. First, Einstein was a refugee. Born a German Jew, he was visiting the US in 1933 when Hitler rose to power. The Nazis denounced his work as Jewish physics, confiscated his property, burned his books, and put a bounty on his head. Einstein never returned to Germany. Instead, he renounced his citizenship and settled in Princeton, New Jersey. This experience shaped him deeply. He became a tireless advocate for refugees and the persecuted. He used his fame to help others escape Nazi terror, co-founding what would become the International Rescue Committee. Einstein's empathy was forged in trauma. He saw the dangers of hatred and the importance of compassion. He believed a nation's greatness was measured by its willingness to help those in need. For Einstein, being a refugee wasn't just a chapter, it was a core part of his identity. He fought for justice, not just in science, but in society. His journey reminds us that even the greatest minds can be shaped by the darkest times. Let's remember Einstein not just as a physicist, but as a humanitarian who stood up to tyranny. His moral courage is as much a part of his legacy as his scientific genius. The universe he studied was vast, but his compassion was just as boundless. Einstein's story is a powerful reminder. Science and humanity go hand in hand. He never forgot where he came from, or those left behind. Imagine being offered the presidency of a country when you're a physicist. In 1952, after Israel's first president died, Einstein was formally offered the role. The offer came from Prime Minister David Ben-Gurion, who saw Einstein as a symbol of intellect and moral authority. The world waited for his answer. Einstein declined, saying he lacked the experience and temperament for politics. He believed his strengths lay in science, not statecraft. He also had concerns about nationalism and the treatment of minorities in Israel. Accepting the presidency would have meant sacrificing his intellectual freedom. Einstein chose ideas over power, truth over titles. His refusal wasn't just humility. It was a statement about knowing one's purpose. He understood that real influence comes from integrity, not position. The what-if of President Einstein is fascinating, but his decision to stay true to himself is even more telling. He knew the universe of ideas was where he belonged. Sometimes the greatest leaders are those who know when to say no. Einstein's legacy is richer for it. He remained a voice of conscience, unburdened by politics. The world got a wiser scientist and a more honest man. That's the real lesson of the presidency he turned down. Einstein wasn't just a refugee, he was a civil rights activist in America. Arriving in the US, he was appalled by segregation and racism. He called racism a disease of white people, and refused to stay silent. Einstein spoke out at historically black universities and befriended leaders like Paul Robeson and Marian Anderson. When Anderson was denied a hotel room in Princeton, Einstein invited her to stay at his home. These weren't just gestures, they were acts of defiance against injustice. He supported the NAACP and corresponded with Webb Du Bois. Einstein saw parallels between anti-Semitism in Germany and racism in America. For him, civil rights were a moral imperative, not a political issue. He used his fame to challenge the status quo and support equality. Einstein's activism is often overlooked, but it was central to his identity. He believed the laws of physics are universal, and human rights should be too. The fight against racism and fascism, he knew, came from the same root. Einstein's moral vision extended far beyond the lab. He showed that true genius stands up for justice. His legacy is not just scientific, but deeply human. Einstein reminds us, the universe is vast, but so is the struggle for equality. He never stopped fighting for a better world. Let's talk about Einstein's Nobel Prize. Most people think he won for relativity, but that's not true. In 1921, Einstein won the Nobel for his discovery of the photoelectric effect. This work showed that light can knock electrons out of materials, depending on its frequency, not its brightness. Einstein proposed that light is made of particles, or quanta, what we now call photons. This idea launched quantum theory, revolutionizing physics. The Nobel Committee chose this over relativity because it was experimentally proven and less controversial at the time. Ironically, Einstein's most famous work wasn't what earned him the prize. Even more ironic, he later became a critic of quantum mechanics, famously saying, "God does not play dice." So, next time someone mentions Einstein's Nobel for relativity, you'll know the real story. His prize was for a discovery that changed how we see the universe at its smallest scales. It's a testament to the breadth of his genius. Einstein's impact spanned both the cosmic and the quantum. Sometimes history surprises even its greatest minds, and that's what makes Einstein's story so fascinating. Now for a bizarre chapter. What happened to Einstein's brain after he died? In 1955, Einstein passed away with clear wishes. Cremation, no shrine, no spectacle. But the pathologist, Thomas Harvey, removed Einstein's brain without permission, hoping to unlock the secrets of his genius. Einstein's family was furious, but Harvey convinced them to allow scientific study. Harvey kept the brain, slicing it into hundreds of pieces and storing it in jars for decades. He moved it from place to place, sending samples to researchers, but real breakthroughs never came. Some studies claimed minor anomalies like more glial cells or unusual grooves, but nothing definitive. The ethics of Harvey's actions remain controversial. Can genius be found in anatomy, or is it something more? Today, most of Einstein's brain is at the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia. The story is a cautionary tale about the limits of science and the importance of respecting wishes. Einstein wanted to avoid becoming a relic, yet his brain became one. Our fascination with genius sometimes crosses uncomfortable lines. In the end, the mind that changed the universe became a scientific curiosity. It's a strange legacy for a man who valued privacy and humility. The real mystery of Einstein's genius may never be solved. Beyond science, Einstein was a passionate musician. He started violin lessons at 6, but it was Mozart's music that truly inspired him. The violin, which he named Lena, became his lifelong companion. Music was more than a hobby, it was how he thought and relaxed. When stuck on a problem, he'd play for hours, letting the music clear his mind. He believed science and music both required intuition and a sense of beauty. His wife Elsa said she fell in love with him for his Mozart playing. Einstein often played chamber music with friends, never as a virtuoso, but always with passion. He saw harmony in music as a reflection of the order he sought in the universe. Music does not influence research work, but they are both nourished by the same source, he said. This love of music reveals a softer, more human side of Einstein. He found meaning in melody as much as in mathematics. Picture him not just at a blackboard, but lost in a sonata, eyes closed, violin in hand. For Einstein, the universe spoke in many languages, and he was fluent in at least 2. His music was as much a part of his genius as his equations. Finally, let's meet Einstein the person. Quirky, playful, and humble. The famous photo of him sticking out his tongue? That was no accident. He loved it and sent copies to friends. He hated socks, found them pointless, and often went without, even at formal events. His wild hair wasn't a style, it was indifference to convention. As a student, he rebelled against rigid schooling, later joking, "To punish me for my contempt for authority, fate made me an authority myself." Einstein's wit was legendary. The difference between stupidity and genius is that genius has its limits. He treated children as equals, patiently answering their questions and even helping with homework. This playful side made him approachable and beloved. He understood the universe's complexity, but also the joy of a clever joke. Einstein's humility and humor were as important as his intellect. He reminds us that true genius includes curiosity, kindness, and the ability to laugh at oneself. The man who redefined reality never lost his sense of fun. Genius for Einstein was as much about wonder as it was about knowledge. He showed us that even the greatest minds can be wonderfully human. Sometimes the best way to face the universe is with a smile, and maybe your tongue out. There you have it, 7 surprising sides of Albert Einstein. He was more than a scientist, a refugee, activist, musician, and a playful spirit. His legacy is not just in equations, but in his compassion, courage, and curiosity. Einstein showed us that a great mind needs a great heart. Which fact surprised you most? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey, subscribe and ring the bell for more. Thanks for watching, and keep looking up.